Okay, so someone recently left me a suggestion to discuss this particular topic, and it is a topic that I've been giving a fair bit of thought towards, and I do have some concerns. And I figured I'd just share some of those concerns with you in this video. And as always, if you have any thoughts that you would like to share, feel free to leave a comment down below if you want. Yeah, right off the bat, one of my biggest concerns when it comes to this problem is the fact that many people, many parents in particular, fail to realize, or at least they seem to fail to recognize that it's a problem at all. That it's not good, that the consequences of it will have an impact. It'll make a dent in the outcomes of their own children's lives in ways that are not so great. And when you start getting to potential solutions to the problem, that's, there should still be discussion, though, at the very least. It is something that is worth discussing. And the problem itself is the fact that you have it more and more common, that you have millions upon millions of very young boys, often 13 years old, maybe even younger than that are being handed iPhones, and they're not, of course, they're not really being monitored in terms of what they're doing on there. But I'll tell you what they're doing on there. A large portion of them are spending hours of their weeks staring at a screen and watching two adults just fuck the shit out of one another while they masturbate themselves. And they're doing that. And I did a lot of that at the age of 13 to fucking at least 16, 17. I would spend every day, and I'm embarrassed to admit, but yes, before school and after school, just so much time. And I don't think they probably had some pretty good ideas as to why I was spending so much time in the restroom, but they never brought it up, and it's understandable as to why that was. But the point is, this isn't good. It's not a good thing. The fact that more and more 13-year-old boys are spending hours of their weeks, and this isn't Playboy. This is some fucking serious shit. Oftentimes it's hardcore. You have fucking up the ass and choking and slapping, and there's some fucking, and you're having 13-year-old boys spending hours of their weeks watching that. And if you don't feel as though this is going to have an impact on the ways in which millions of young boys are going to approach relationships and sex with real life women, that's the other thing. This is becoming more common where, sex in of itself, not the stuff that comes with relationships and stuff, but sex in of itself is being more and more held on a fucking pedestal as being this thing that, if you don't get it, you are less than. This is going to be the thing that will fulfill you. It'll justify your existence. And if you're not able to have sex, if you're not able to attract women, you're not able to have sex with women, you are inferior, and you should feel very badly about that. And this is becoming more and more, I feel, it's becoming more common, where you have boys that are growing up to be men that will never have sex with a female person, never be sexually attractive to women, and you're having more and more of these boys who will eventually become men, feeling as though that is the thing, that is the ultimate goal, that's the ideal, that you should be that, and if you're not that, you should be quite ashamed of not being able to attract women. And yeah, it's again, the consequences of this, you have more and more young boys growing up where that's the ideal, and more that will never be able to attain it. That combination of being desired more and more as being the ultimate thing that will sustain you, and if you don't have it, also more and more that can't. It's not good. It's really not good. And whatever I say here isn't going to be really processed, but it's easy to say that yes, sex is overrated as absolute shit. It is. It really is. But it's only oftentimes after you've had it to where you're able to see it in many. It'll just. It's something that is difficult to communicate because it's easy for people to say that, but it really is. It's not going to sustain you. It's not going to complete you. It feels nice for a time, but then it fades like everything else, and it'll leave you feeling, oftentimes empty and like but yeah, I remember from my own personal experience, that was something that did increase this, and it's not uncommon for that to just captivate so much of your attention and what you're striving towards when you're young. But that was definitely the case for me growing up, and I didn't lose my virginity. I didn't kiss a girl until I was like 18. And I remember feeling very strongly that I was just so, before that point, that there was something seriously wrong with me. And this is becoming more common. And it's fucked. I don't know. In summary, though, I feel like the young people are valuing the wrong things. That's what and the young people have always done a whole lot of that. Like, that's always been a very common, teenage boys are always going to want to feel sexually desired by girls. It's just, that's the truth. But I feel like this is becoming more and more, it's been increasing. It's becoming far more common. It's been placed on far higher of a pedestal. From not just teenage boys, of course, but teenage girls as well. And it's just, more and more young people are valuing the wrong fucking things. And it's not looking to be headed in a good direction. And I feel like the internet, just in general, not just with porn, but just in general, the internet is exacerbating this to very, very high degrees. And this is the future. The youth are the future, and this is not going in a good direction. And I feel very pessimistic in terms of where the human project is heading, just in general. And this is just one of many reasons as to why I feel that way. So again, let me know what your thoughts are. If I could go back in time and I could tell that, if I could go back in time and tell that little motherfucker that felt so insecure about, whether or not, like, oh, I really want girls to be into me, I would tell him, hey man, you just work on these other things. Make some fucking friends first. I've always been really bad when it comes to making friends, but I was really bad about it when I was a teenager, and that's a good place to start. But yeah, there's so many facets, there's so many aspects of your personality and your sense of that you should attempt to work on before you even worry about attracting the opposite sex. And it's another one of those cliche things where it's like, yes, if you do that, if you spend more time doing that, and you look at yourself and you be honest with yourself, there are many things that you can take the time to improve upon. And with me in particular, I wish I would have done a hell of a lot. I never fucking applied myself at school. I came home and played video games all day. I didn't give a single shit about school. I had very low expectations for myself, and so did everyone around me. And my peers didn't seem to give a shit, most of them. So it was just the default to not give a shit about school and preparing for. Then that's another common environmental factor that more people should take into consideration when it comes to, attempting to alter the trajectory of people's lives in ways that are good. But yeah, that's just, people are valuing, especially the young peoples are valuing the wrong fucking things, and this is becoming more common to just ridiculous degrees. Again, because it's normal for young people to value the sorts of things over the other things, but it's really the degrees at which it's just fucking ridiculous. It doesn't look to be headed in a good direction. And again, let me know what your thoughts are. Got a little off track from the primary The primary point being like internet pornography. But yeah, I would say if you're a young male, it's worth minimizing addiction in general. But yeah, internet pornography, it's really fucking bad for your brain and just all over the place. It's not good for your developmental process, all that sorts of stuff. And I know that doesn't really mean much now, but it will later on. And those are my thoughts. Yeah, masturbation, all right, fine, whatever. But if you're like spending hours upon hours every week, like I was as a young teenage boy, watching tons of internet videos and just looking for the right video, just constantly spending more time doing that than actually, it's just, that's not good for your fucking brain. It really isn't. And those are my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll catch you in the next rambly little video.